Brandon.
Yes.
Yesterday, in the first ever in history, Kevin McCarthy got booted from Speaker of the House. It's never happened, right? Ever in the history. So in Congress right now is simultaneously the worst and the most dysfunctional. Wait, what was it? The worst,
most powerful,
most powerful and the most.
You wrote down 5
I wrote down. I scribbled it. So the most powerful and the most dysfunctional at the same exact time, which is bananas.
It's weird, yeah.
So what's your insight?
Yeah, so the McCarthy thing's context for all this, and I just wanted to run through like the powers that Congress has, because I don't think a lot of people really pay too much attention to that, but Congress is the most powerful unit in the world, especially when they're united on something. They have the power to make laws, you know, the people who make the rules of life, and it's a game they're playing, you know, so imagine like a referee participating in a game while refereeing the game. That's quite a bit of an advantage. You know, they make over 500 laws per year. 500 laws? Yeah, per year.
And is there any, Brendan, because I want you to, obviously you're going to stand up, but is there any oversight on them?
No, they're the last.
They're just that's not scary.
Well, you know what? Actually, the people are the oversight for them, which I'm going to get to at the end.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
That's already scaring the shit out of me, 500 laws.
So they also have the power to declare war, not the president. Congress has the power to declare war and set the military budget. They have the power to, or they decide how much money gets spent every year. So the money they get from tax receipts and all that, they decide how much gets spent, what gets spent where, and they have the special ability to take out more money if they reach their budget, don't have any left. They could say, oh, we need this much more. And guess, out of the last 50 years, how many times Congress has went over budget? What would you guess?
In the last 50 years, how many times have they went over budget?
49.
Was it every single year? Every year?
Is that your guess?
I was going to say 50.
Every year?
Are you guessing every year?
Well, you're asking how many times they do it a year?
In 50 years, how many times have they gone over budget? Their budget, Congress, in 50 years, if they guess 1 to 50.
25.
Okay. 46.
No,
dude, so guess what? They're horrible at their job.
And that's what the $33 trillion in debt is. That's them overspending each year. That's why we're $33 trillion in debt, because they spend a couple trill more than they have.
Trillion.
Yeah.
And don't they also, at the end of the year, there's always like these, hey, we need to burn X amount of dollars, otherwise we won't get it for the next fiscal year. So we'll buy everybody brand new office chairs, even though we bought everybody brand new office chairs 6 months ago.
That's how they
do it. Like, they literally just burn our money.
Yeah, it's disgusting, because you get your budget cut if you don't spend it all. So, yeah, those are just a few things. Then next, so they also are able to impeach federal officers. So, you know, like the president, the Congress has the power to impeach the president. They have the power to impeach anybody the president appoints. They also get to decide if they approve whether people the president appoints. So if you want to have a certain type of person at a certain position, Congress has to give their stamp of approval.
Jeez.
Also, they have the ability to give out government contracts or set regulations on companies. So companies as powerful as Google or Amazon tremble in their boots at the thought of Congress being out of favor with Congress. So Congress could literally call them to testify and set regulations on something like Google or Amazon that just totally obliterates their business.
So didn't they try to do that with Facebook?
They did do it.
Yeah,
they did it with Facebook during COVID.
Yeah, and recently too. Like there's a whole different thing with like Facebook's ad marketing, or you can't target people with your ads anymore. And
I remember that when that's when Zuckerberg was on it was in Congress, and it was did you see the water? That's when he drank the water. If you guys are
like an alien,
YouTube, Mark Zuckerberg drinking water. I'm not joking. He goes like this, and he goes. It's the weirdest.
You know what that is? That you're so rich that you don't even drink your own water.
I need to know how
they beat the bird. Come here. They do this. They go, here, Mark Zuckerberg, you need a drink. And then he goes, oh, thank you. And now I'm going to wipe away my tears of millions.
But trust me, watch YouTube after this. Zuckerberg drinking water in Congress. He's an alien. But go ahead.
And yeah, lastly, they could overrule the president if he tries to put something forward. They could vote against him. You know, so that leads to the question. So why is it that our Congress is so dysfunctional? Why is it the most ridiculous group of people that you could think of in any area of life? The reason is, you know, what demands excellence? I would say competition more than anything. And why is there such a lack of competition in Congress? Is because the DNC and the RNC completely exclude competition in the sense of they do not let people on the ballot. They control the primaries. Like, imagine, so Yeah, like Yale and Harvard, you know, most of the time, like big businesses or successful businesses, they try to hire people from places like Yale and Harvard, but there's a reason for that because people that went to those places got good grades and were smart and whatnot. But in politics, to be part of the DNC or the RNC, you just have to be like the best ass kisser, or be like the person who does whatever like this group wants you to do, like sell every part of your soul and show like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna be a good Democrat, I'm gonna be a good Republican, like let me churn through the system and like wait for my turn in line. But you know, that doesn't create the best outcome. Like imagine if like, you know, NFL teams only allowed people from like 2 different colleges to come just based on how they acted. You know, that wouldn't result in the best athletes being in the NFL. But that's the system that we have in Congress because they're the people that make the laws and set up the system in a way to be advantageous for the way they have it.
Is there any, Brendan, is there any way for that to change?
Yeah, so like I said before, the boss of Congress is the people, but you know, this kind of ties into a quote that Plato said, if you ignore the affairs of your politicians, you're doomed to be under the rule of fools. And we're under the rule of fucking retards. You know? So,
I agree.
Yeah.
Brandon's showing passion, baby. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Because we're not paying attention. You know, like 9 out of 10 people have no idea about this stuff. And that's the way forward. We have to like you know, bombard them with public pressure to change this shit and make it actually competitive.
And do you think, and that's my point, Brandon, because, you know, ignorance is bliss. And like you're saying, people don't care. And the amount of, think about it. Just think about it, bro, Joel. From sports to entertainment to gender to sex to everything that separates us, nobody's caring about this. It's them on the top. It's the military. It's the cops. And listen, all of us. I don't give a shit who you are. You're down here. They are stopping us. You're like, is there any hope, Brandon? Because you're talking about us, and it's the people. We're the 99%. If you think about it, bro, we are. The people are the strongest. Do you think that there's going to change? Because as we're seeing, Brandon, anybody that's trying to make change is getting prosecuted. They're arresting them. They're bringing up all, like you said, the impeachments, to this, to that. Is there any hope?
Yeah, like, well, if the public got behind like a specific issue, pinpoint something, was actually like united and pissed off about it, like say one thing, like open primary, something that would make politics more competitive, you know, actually make people like RFK be able to run as an independent in a state, because right now it's set up in a way where you can't do that. But if people got pissed off about that one issue and just pounded Congress with the phone calls and emails and saying like, no, I'm not going to vote for you if you don't actually make open primaries in your state. So that's something that could have tremendous amount of influence.
But how long does that take?
It could take one election cycle if people are actually pissed off about it and put like a lot of pressure behind it.
And I also think I actually love what Matt Gaetz did, because I totally agree that you shouldn't be able to pass 1,000-page bills for everything like this. Like, no one even knows what it is. And I actually would say that it's unconstitutional, because the Constitution says that they govern by the consent of the governed. How do you consent to a 1,000-page document that no one even knows what it is? So I actually don't even know how these bills are constitutional. I would actually argue that they're not. And I applaud Matt Gaetz, because when it comes to, if they're passing a law, it should be 1 page. We should be able to read it. We should be able to understand it. It should be able to transparent, so the people can actually give the consent, and the people that they're voting for, they know what they voted for. It's like, oh, they voted for this bill. It was 216 to this. Well, what was the bill? Oh, it was about the defense spending. Well, what was in it?
They don't care.
It's 13,000 pages long.
It's the same thing with the spending of the money, right? They've sent $1 trillion, and then there's all these different lines in there that want, like, 100 million goes to some museum in California, and you know, another 300 million goes over here for this nonprofit, and it's like
it goes 100,000 for geckos walking on a treadmill. It's like
save a spotted owl.
Gender studies.
They sent something overseas. They sent like a couple 100 million for like trans studies and like
and Indonesia,
something.
And that's what happens when you keep voting. The like when taxes first rolled out, it was like a 1-page tax. How long is the tax policy now? Like, no one even knows.
Nobody has any idea.
And then they're like, we need to lower the taxes because it's going to be for the people, or we need to heighten them. It's better for the people. Well, the people that are actually passing the taxes, there's so many loopholes, all these things that they don't pay the taxes, which good for them. But we don't even know what we're voting for. We don't even know the people that we're voting for. We don't even know what they're voting for. We don't even know what they stand for, because it's thousands of pages that they haven't even read and they're voting on.
I agree.
That's a great point.
I think Matt Gaetz did do something today where he's like fighting for like whoever's going to be the speaker, where they're going to fight for at least a 72-hour window so they can attempt to read these 1,000-page bills.
Well, it's like, just pass a bill. They have to be, if you're going to pass something on the on defense, it's 1 page. If you're going to pass something on education, it's 1 page.
Yeah, and I want to be able to read that shit. It's all. By the way, you work for us.
We understand it.
Do you think people in Congress can recite the rules of the Constitution?
No.
Like
Hell no.
Isn't that the problem? That somebody like you who has insight and depth and can understand it and go, I can work within these rules to make a change. You understand it, and the people who are put in charge don't even know the rules.
Exactly.
They just blindly, they pass.
Most
Like
of
you
our
said,
laws are
blindly pass it.
unconstitutional.
So let me ask you guys a question. And Brandon, I want to ask you first. So this move, the speaker, which is, dude, it's never happened before. What type of ramifications is going to happen for the election? And what, like, Brandon, was it set up? Did anybody see this coming? I know they spoke about it. I think it's a plan, but I want to ask all of you.
Yeah.
Because, Brandon, he hinted at it before. I 100% do not believe in just, whoa, this happened, breaking news. What's really happening, Brandon?
Yeah, no, so I mean, he kind of summed himself up to be super vulnerable because it was a rare situation. You know how it took 14 votes for him to even get the Speaker of the House thing when they were voting for it? So
yeah.
Each time a vote failed, he had to make a side deal with a person saying, all right, yeah, look, all right, so I'll make this deal with you, just like vote for me. And that had to happen 14 times. You had to flip 14 people by selling
He did that?
shit. Yeah.
Some House of Cards shit.
Yeah, so he finally got to the point where it's like, all right, fine, like, if one person puts me up for votes, like, I'm calling me into question, like, yeah, fine, I'll make that deal. So, you know, this isn't a normal situation where one person could put him up for a vote, but, you know, because it took 14 times for him to get voted in, that was the situation. And I think somebody made a good point the other day. There's speculation that Matt Gaetz didn't even think that he was going to lose the vote.
Really?
Yeah, so this might have just been like an accidental chaos grenade.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, even
Do you guys agree with it? Like, do you like what happened?
First of all, great question, because how long has he been in the House?
9 months.
He's been 9 months. Be honest. What's really happened? And I've always said this, the Democrats are the winners. I know they're on the same team, but these cats, they know the game. They set the game up to win. One side, the Republicans, they're that annoying chihuahua that's on your ankles, but they never ever bite. Jim Jordan, he's up there preaching. Dude, I love listening to him. I remember who was the South Carolina?
Graham?
He was, he was during Benghazi and everything. South Carolina congressman. Anyway, amazing. Held Hillary to the fire, all the Benghazi, all the FBI collusion. He was amazing. What happens? I want results. I'm tired of the, hey, we caught you, and nothing happened. So the fact that they're doing it and making this move, I think it's showing at least some fire if it isn't set up, Brandon, which, who knows?
Who knows?
I love it.
They're talking about potentially Matt Gaetz being expelled from Congress. They're looking at.
They're talking about him.
They're talking about him.
Byron Bowers. Who's the
fire alarm guy.
No, that's Jamal Bowman.
Okay.
The Byron, the black congressman, the really good edge up. They're talking about him being the House Speaker, which I like the shot. I like the shake up.
As long as it's not
necessary.
What line of position, like in succession? It's President, Vice President, Speaker of the House.
Speaker of the House.
Talking about third in line behind a guy that's seen and Kamala Harris.
That's an incredibly powerful position too. Like they're the ones who get to decide what votes get called to the floor and voted on. So that's an incredibly powerful position. And the interesting thing about Speaker of the House is anybody in the world could be Speaker of the House.
I was going to say,
Oh,
you don't
yeah.
need to be in
Elon Musk.
Congress.
Who would you like to see fulfill that?
I would love to see Trump do it.
Yes!
There was speculation about it like 2 years
Could
ago.
you imagine? And his commercial would be? His commercial would be like this. I'm back, bitches.
Because you could run train on anybody as Speaker of the House. Yeah, like destroy them.
And he commented.
Time out. I've seen those videos. I heard trade, and then Taylor goes to church, goes, trade like the market? Are we trading in the market?
I was making a joke when I said that.
Because I was like, I was going to go, it's down to trade. She's a Christian.
I do go to church though.
Yeah, so, but go ahead.
I don't even know what I was thinking of. So Trump made a comment, though, because someone shouted out to him about becoming the speaker, and he kind of said, if I can do it while running, we'll have to see it. If whatever they need help with, I'd love to help them. I don't know if it's going to really happen. I don't know, but it would make things very... I think it would be really good.
How great! Because, he speaks hilarious, and to have him be the speaker, I don't know if you guys saw this, Brendan, it was on the PBD podcast. Did we show it? Oh, I don't think we did, because there was music. And you mentioned this earlier, Donald Trump, love him or hate him. He's funny.
He's hilarious.
He's like, indict the motherfucker. The other one was, he said while he was with this whole climate change, he's anti, he's like, the planet's gonna be fine, right? And so they asked, he goes, when I was in, somebody in the Department of Defense was like, hey, Mr. President, we're thinking about doing eco-friendly fighter jets. And he goes, what eco-friendly? He goes, we're bombing and shooting people. Who gives a shit in the plane? He is so funny, but dude,
it's like so true.
But it's true.
It's just like blunt. Like, what are we worried about that for? When we're dropping?
So at the end of the day, hilarious, dude. That would be my choice. But here's my question, Vinnie. Can you go from Speaker of the House and then run for president?
Oh yes, of course. You can do whatever you want when you're in politics. You could go from any position to any position.
Oh, just to piss off the left?
Yeah.
And that, by the way, that's one of the main reasons I was pro-Trump, because I was in Los Angeles, and just the fact that, remember that video of that girl with the glasses?
Yeah.
That she was like, they were like, and the new president, she was like, ah! But dude, I would lay in bed and just watch that over and over, because as a comedian, I like people when they're, you're pissing people off. That's it. So anyway,
just one quick thing. Like, so think of, this is the impact the Speaker of the House has. Think of the vibe of the country when Pelosi was Speaker of the House. Like, I call it her reign of terror from 2018 to 2022, because just like, I know McCarthy didn't do anything, but I was at least like at peace that I wasn't going to get like vaccines forced down me and whatnot, when McCarthy went in. So that's the difference the speakers have, because like companies follow this tone of Congress.
Oh wow, that's right.
Because all the mandates went away when Pelosi went away.
Yup, and as we saw during COVID, she was one of those stay home, don't do shit, blah blah.
And then she's
don't get her hair done, and doing all that shit. And then when Trump was saying, close the planes, close the border, China, 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 she was in Chinatown saying, listen, we're a country of everybody.
Xenophobic.
Come down to Chinatown, you dumb bitch. Everybody got COVID because of you dumb
such
idiot.
a powerful position. We can't do better than Nancy Pelosi or McCarthy. Like his final speech, I'm like, oh my God, he's so boring. He's like, I did it with a smile. It's like, no one cares.
Smile your ass back to your office. That's so funny.